Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with DeMarcus Ware, the artist formerly known as Koala on The Masked Singer. DeMarcus, you spent years on the football field as an NFL player. What sparked your interest in being a part of a singing competition like this?
I think it all started back with Dancing with the Stars, just getting uncomfortable doing something that you've never done before, right? And then making it, to the end. And then what really sparked my interest was when I sang the national anthem at the Hall of Fame game. I was like, okay, well then, you got a little bit of vocals, right? I mean, because I sang in high school with a singing group, and I sing all the time, but not on a stage.
Yeah.
And that was my first time doing it. And once I got an opportunity to go into the Masked Singer, it was like, you know what? You can do this. You've sung in front of your peers, and now you get to be masked to do it, and you get to act up. Oh yeah, we about to do this, right?
I
I
was
get to put a mask back on.
I was gonna ask, does it help like build your confidence a little bit, knowing you have that mask on and you can just be kind of a fool up there if you want to be?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's almost like I got to put my football gear back on without hitting anybody, right? So when I had my football gear on, I was Superman. Right? And I got to go and, smash quarterbacks. And now I'm like, all right, if I put this koala uh, you know, costume on, now I can just go out there and belt it. And it doesn't matter. It's all about charisma. You got to make this character come to life. And I feel like I did that.
And Koala, what spoke to you about this costume? Are you just diving into like your cuddly side? What's going on? What's going on with Koala?
So they actually chose koala, and it was one of the coolest things when I found out what the costume was because my little son is 2 years old. He has a koala that he sleeps with, takes everywhere, right? So koala around my house is everything. And so when they said, "Hey, DeMarcus, your costume gonna be a koala costume," I said, "What?" I said, "Do you guys know that my son actually carries a koala everywhere he goes?" And so that was like a little sentimental deal. And then I started diving into who Koala was, which is more like the Renaissance man, write poetry, like to sing, chivalry, got the sword. So he had all of it. And so I was like, that's actually my personality. You know what? I can be, sweet and kind, or I can just knock your head off. I mean, either one of the two, So it was my personality, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, the clues for the panelists were there, and they were on the right track. They guessed Michael Irvin, Shannon Sharp, Deion Sanders, and Terry Crews. What was going through your mind when you heard those guesses?
When I heard those guesses, they knew athlete,
Yeah.
but I knew they wouldn't have guessed me. They wouldn't have guessed who was under the costume because of my personality of who they don't know once I take the pads off. I'm more chill, I'm more relaxed, I'm quiet, soft spoken. Then you put the pads on, it's like, hold on, he's an animal. So when I got up there and started talking, like Nick Cannon, he looked at me, he was like, I know you. Like, I know you because we've done a lot of shows together,
I was
but
gonna
he
ask,
don't,
do you know Nick Cannon?
we've done some shows together, but he didn't know it all. None of them knew. So all of those guesses were all out there. So they just knew it was an athlete and that was it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm actually, taking this on very well and hiding the person on the koala.
And it was a celebration of the 40th anniversary of Transformers. You sang "Everybody Wants to Rule the World." Is that song in your wheelhouse? I mean, did you feel good about that?
I felt really good about the song. I wish I could have done more in the costume. That costume, I found out that you have to be well conditioned in that costume. I've been on the football field and running laps and running after the quarterbacks. That's different. But when you have to sit up there and you're inside of that costume, you have to hold your composure. You gotta sing, and when you're singing, you can't breathe for somebody that have never done it, just letting you into it. And so that whole time, me starting outside, walking all the way to the inside and finishing, literally when I got on my knee, and people don't understand this, I was not probably breathing. It was just that hard. But I wanted it so much that I actually ended up getting through it. And it was one of the coolest things to see that these artists and musicians, it's a totally different type of talent. And I got to do it for just a little bit of time.
Were you upset you only got 1 week? I mean, we saw you get through the performance, they do the vote, Lovebird goes first. And then at that point you're like, okay, I got it. I'm in. I'm gonna make it. Or what were your thoughts and expectations? Because you're competitive.
Yeah, my thoughts were I'm gonna go out here and blow it out of the water with no expectations. And because I knew one thing that I had was a lot of charisma and making that character come to life. And that's what I did. And I actually sang a note. But when it came down to, the panel or maybe some of the contestants, how they judge, the singers in the group that I was in were phenomenal. When I say phenomenal, I when I heard them practicing, I said, "Oh my God. Like what have I gotten into?" Because they were belting and singing songs and doing things that I've never heard anybody do with their voices before in their life. But I said, one thing that I know that they don't have is charisma and being able to make these characters come together. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's why they're going to bring me here for this wild card to sort of bring some edge in. So I enjoyed it. I had a great time, like I said. But I didn't get just a couple more times in there, man.
What's it like watching it back now? And are you like, why didn't I get up against like why didn't I get Billy Bush? Like what why am I up against like these professional probably singers?
Um, when you go into something, you don't know exactly what you're going to be getting into. And for them to call your name, to say that you're good enough, to be on stage with the best, that means something. Even though it was a short period of time, you got to be in the graces of greatness. And I know what that feels like on the football field, but now I know what that feels like, not just singing the national anthem, but some of the best in the world singing, and I got to do it for a brief moment. So I'm grateful for that. I have zero regrets, but I cannot wait to turn that TV on and let my kids see this and not knowing. Oh man, that's going to be that light bulb that goes off when I'm able to watch it with them.
You talk about growing up singing. Who were the artists you listened to? What type of music did you like to listen to when you were growing up, or what singers inspired you?
Yeah, it was all since I was in a boy band, you still got, Boys to Men, you had NSYNC, you had 112, you had Black Street. Like I used to listen to, those groups and then, being from Alabama, so they're from the South.
Yeah.
So they were embedded into what we wanted to sing like. So you still got Michael and you got everybody else that are solo artists, but I was more in a group, so we did more group singing.
Taking it back to your football career, what was that like to be inducted in 2023 to the Hall of Fame? That had to be something very important and sentimental for you. What are your thoughts when you think about that?
The first thought that goes through my head is when my son said, DeMarcus, our dad, you're the GOAT. You're the greatest of all time. And that hit me a little bit. And I hear people all the time that they say, I played you on Madden or you was on this video game. But to say that from millions of players from high school all the way through the NFL, there's only 371 players to say that they are the best ever. And I'm 371. Um, it's all of the hard work and dedication and sacrifice that you put in um, to say that I want to be great. And then once you are told that you are one of the greatest, that's when it really hits and it's worth it. Because you can put in a lot of work and it'll never be worth it because you don't get the recognition that you feel that you deserve. But I feel like once I walked across that stage and I gave my speech, I gave something that's going to live forever that people can listen to and motivate them for them to be great as well.
Where do you keep your Super Bowl ring? Do people wear their Super Bowl ring all around, or like is that like in a box, a safe somewhere?
It's-
Maybe you don't want to say.
some people wear, some people wear their Super Bowl rings around. I have mine at my house. It's in a safe, amongst, Super Bowl ring, Hall of Fame ring, Ring of Honor ring, all the rings that are in there, they're all in a safe, right? And every once in a while, I just slide that box open and I just look because there aren't many people with those rings in that drawer, but they don't mean anything to me if you don't have that solidification of you're the best, you're the greatest. That's when it really means something. Otherwise, it's like, all right, well, I was there, I got to experience it, but somebody else was great on the team instead of you.
Well, you're 41, right? Are you 40?
Boom. Yep, yep, yep,
So
yep.
and
41.
retired. That's weird to say. So that's the life of a pro athlete. What is that a tough transition to make? Like playing all those years and then you're suddenly like off the field. Is that hard for you to go through and where do you go next? And what's the next phase of for you?
Yeah, it is one of the most challenging things that an athlete can go through because once you get embedded in a sport that you've been doing all your life, that's what you learn how to do, right? And you have a regimented schedule, how you treat yourself, how you eat from 6 to 6 a.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every single day. And now once you retire, you wake up in the morning and you're like, hey, I don't have to actually hit the alarm clock. I don't actually have to work out or lift the way that I um have been doing. But then you start to find out like, where's my team? Because you're used to a team. But what really helped me out is when I embedded into my family, because my family was my new team, my wife, my kids. Then I started figuring out that, hey, I'm the captain of my new team at home. But a lot of guys, it's hard for them to realize that. And to me, I always say, if you don't have Jesus Christ in your life, it's a little bit harder because you feel the empty space with things that you can buy with your money.
Hmm.
Until you find that it's not about the money, it's about how your heart can actually grow. That's when you start becoming a lot more happier. And I had that since my sophomore year of college. So it was an easier transition for me.
Well, it's been fun watching you on reality TV. So you've been Dancing with the Stars, Masked Singer. I mean, can you cook? Maybe Master Chef next.
Hey, holler at me. Let me know where I need to go to get some lessons. I would love to do it.
Survivor, The Traitors is a good one. We'll keep an eye out for you. DeMarcus, it was fun watching you perform on The Masked Singer. You surprised a lot of people, and thanks for sitting down and talking about it with Gold Derby today.
Thanks, man.